Hello there, everybody, and welcome back to Vodible's Primetime Tuesdays number 3. My name is K-Bot, and I am joined now by Squidd. Squidd, how's your evening going?
It's going pretty great, I gotta be honest. DreamHack was an absolute blast, but I am so grateful to be back right about now. I had some complications, all right? I had some complications
Oh,
on
dear.
Sunday evening,
Oh, no.
but you know what happens in Dallas stays in Dallas, I suppose, as they say. If you know, you know. But I'm glad to be here. Glad to be up on Primetime Tuesdays, K-Bot, and yeah, it's just nice to have more Omega Strikers coming your way. Had a wonderful opportunity to see how the collegiate scene was playing out down there in the Battle for Texas, and now here, Primetime Tuesday. Number 3, it's nice to get these weeklies and get a little bit of shakeups here and there, and support my boy Surplus on the other side of the bracket. So,
But now, you mentioned the collegiate scene. Of course, you saw all Texas teams compete in the Battle for Texas at DreamHack. And now we've got another collegiate team that we'll be watching in our next match tonight. It's Lakeland University, who actually, I think, finished 4th in the major collegiate tournament that took place during the open beta last year. So this is a team that's been pretty strong in terms of those collegiate spheres. Yes, they might even be able to beat UTD. And they'll be heading up against a few familiar faces from the rest of the Omega Strikers community. CKJ is a pickup roster of Corey, Jalen Mans, and KJewls. So this one should be fun. Our stage is over to Night Market here as we get into Striker Select.
KJewls. The name for me is old as time. I've said it multiple times now, but KJewls having a little bit of a pro run in Splitgate Arena Warfare. I was along for the ride on that one for just a little bit, so it's nice to see him back here. We see Julia and Rune on ban this time around. I can only imagine trying to get a little bit of that bruiser potential out here on the side of Lakeland. If you're going to play X, you don't want to have that Juliet contesting you because you can easily get steamrolled by that. I think it's something that we actually saw over the last weekend. Aimee also going to be not selected by Soren. That's what you thought. Kai on the other side. And I think it might be a little bit of a counter pick because that zone control, especially the Giga Blast in the mid, is a great way to get involved as a Kai goalie.
And we saw the Kai goalie go incredibly forward in the last match that we saw as well. And we saw how annoying the rune was. So, of course, It gets taken off completely. And now the last few strikers are selected, and we've got a mirror match for this one. Both these teams feeling confident in their own picks and think they can out-mechanic their opponents and maybe even try to outdraft them on the Awakening.
And I see some people in the chat. The Giga Nuts is the bomb. That's if that's what we're gonna call it, then great. But we're here underway on Mark. I don't even know at this point.
It's another team name. It was another team
name. Yeah. I was about to say. I was like, please don't be talking about Giga Blast. But
I am now going to break the fourth wall. Vod, can we see the Starter Awakenings, please? Because that would be helpful for us to figure out what's going on. Unstoppable and Orb Share are both selected here. Actually, surprising to see so many people take the Orb Sharing.
That is true, especially with X on either side. We talk about bully and bruiser potential. MnnMouse is already having some difficulties with that right now. You can see Corey starting to get a little bit into the mix there on the bottom side. And of course, with an era on both teams, there's a very real potential for that X, Etihan and Corey, to get a little bit of the upper hand, how you would say, out of nowhere. They do have a Chlorophyll available, trying to move upfield. Giga Blast comes out. Corey puts down one shield, trying to make it into 2 now. Bellringer comes in, but the Maelstrom, that's a lot of damage. They almost take him. Chlorophyll is popped. They're taken out. Way to use the energy before they go down, though.
Well done there, and now an open net opportunity. But with the power play, it's going to be Lakeland's turn to take care of both goal barriers as well. Soren going to slow this one down. Core flip burned out of KJewls, buying some time for Corey to come on back in here. And now that strike shot gets involved from Jalen Mans as well. But a beautiful Maelstrom from Mouse comes back the other way. And we're seeing this one continue to go back and forth between these two goalies who seem to just kind of let the rest of the players fight it out in the middle. And we'll see what happens. Another stalled core flip there, trying to buy some more time. Now Corey lunges forward, but can't quite seem to find the core, put that one back, and now it's going to get trapped between that Maelstrom and the wall. KJewls trying to keep up the pressure. Corey dodging, looking to try to use this. Bellringer doesn't connect, and now Etihan bullying Corey away. The pressure is going to falter here for this side of CKJ.
Yeah, Corey taking another KO there. Mouse off the field now. That era can be very useful for applying a little bit of pressure on the top side. We've seen KJewls unsuccessfully trying to make those kinds of plays against Soren. And Mouse is already back into the mix. We're well into OT right here about us. It feels like there's really no 1-2 dunk potential out of the corner, especially playing against a high goalie. They have a little bit of sustain, but they can really play against that era. We might see a critical Maelstrom come out. Core flip is available here for Jalen. That's a nice barrage from Soren. Following up the strike shot, gets that one away. ET Han now with core from offer. The bell ringer and the core flip both being used, and it forces, again, another defensive core flip. We're just going to keep going back and forth. We really need an extra overtime timer, but Soren can't make that play. Corey up to the top side, finally.
Beautiful cross-up angle here from Corey. The one thing I want to comment on here as well, now that we're getting into this, Corey, usually like incredibly high-level player here, plays on a team called Light and tends to be the midfield player for them. So getting involved in the brawler side now, little slight off-rolling, right? You might not fully consider that in a game like Omega Strikers, but it is true. Playing a brawler is going to be playing a little bit differently than you might consider that midfield play. So something else to keep an eye on here. That ET Han might be a little more comfortable at times. I say that though, as Corey's able to find the knockout onto ET Han, potentially opening up this opportunity here. Dribbles from KJewls coming out, but Corey on the X Maximus able to send one back. That's the 4 KO streak coming out, and Jalen Man's getting involved here on the Kai goalie. There's the cross up once again from Corey to send the core back.
Soren tried with that strike shot to go up high, but it was just a little bit misplaced, and they get punished. That's 2 goals against now. And I will say, Corey, you mentioned they usually play a midfield role, but it feels like they are flexing very naturally into the brawler archetype right now about because they have made so many KOs happen. And I think this is helping to emphasize the exact reason why we expected. You know, we were a bit surprised to see Unstoppable only taken by, I believe, it was ET Han on the Lakeland side. I mean, Mouse and Soren have already sustained quite a bit of damage. Even then, ET Han has also gone off the map a couple of times. So it's been just an emphatic performance here from the red team. We'll see what they can do to try and mop this one up. They've already got 1 shield barrier down. Continuous pressure being applied here. The Maelstrom almost utilized to perfection there by KJewls. It was just a little bit off target, but still a lot of damage on the Mouse.
Now we're seeing this core stalled out a little more. Both goalies rather comfortable, you know. Now Jalen Mans uses that core flip, sends that one away. Again, a core flip for a core flip. Exchanged once more. There's another KO coming out of Corey, who's already level 5, and we've seen 2 goals hit the back of the net in this game so far. These players certainly putting on a show, and there it is as well. KO's coming through again. ET Han gonna try to play the ex-goalie here. Now gets shrunk, is able to send it back once, and now able to dash forward, getting that second goal barrier. And all of a sudden, wait a minute, playing field might be equalized.
Yeah, I felt like there was a little bit of panic there on the back end for Lakeland, but they made it happen. What a barrage! Way to see that one, Soren, way up high, denying that core flip. ET Han now, alongside Mouse, they got potential to move this one upfield. The bull rush, they go for a little bit of contact on the opposition instead of on the core. I do question that slightly. We're in OT here, and they've got both of the opposing shield barriers down, as you mentioned. Managing to turn a bad situation into actually a relatively neutral one, although Corey still advancing upfield here, applying a lot of pressure directly to Soren alongside KJewls. The barrage is there, but that's going to be on cooldown now. The bell ringer's not good enough to get it away. Soren again has to go down south to make the stop, and another one on the goal line. The strike is in there for Corey. Giga Blast denied, and finally the bull rush will put it away. That's 3-0.
I'll tell you what, Soren was playing that so well. The awareness to be able to utilize the barrage instead of your own strike that can get stunned and interrupted by the X, right? And then just able to fend that off for so long. Normally, you don't see the guy have that kind of an ability to fend that off. And that's why it'll be Soren getting the second pick on the Awakening screen. It'll be Orb Ponderer, though, picked up first by Corey. Those cooldowns for the X going to be huge. And I think he was one of the players that took orb sharing, maybe. So probably we'll have that as well. Or if not, was worth the denial away from everyone else.
Very true. I mean, reduced cooldowns as well as X. If you get that X Maximus up just a little bit more frequently, I'm sure that your opponents are not going to be terribly happy about that one. So we also did see Glance Cannon for Jalen Mans. I have to say, I'm a fan of that pick. Peak performance on the side of ET Han is a little bit more tanky with extra speed to boot. There's nothing really wrong with any of the drafts that we saw on the board here, so we'll see how things pan out. It's looking like it's going to be a very hot start, though. Corey just tried to walk up on that one. 2 shield barriers already down. Jalen Mans is in the paint, almost in the opposing 8th at that point, and they make it happen.
what do you do when there's an X sitting on your goal line? I mean, like, what is there to be done here to try to get Corey sent away? Somebody's going to have to start focusing him down even more, just because that's exactly what the X wants to do. He wants to be in your face. He wants to be aggressive, and he wants to push and bully you around. And that's exactly what Corey is being enabled to do here. You see KJewls buffing up that X even more, and in the X Maximus is like double the size of what it looks like. There's Giga Blast coming out of Jalen Mans as well, keeping out the pressure from the Kai goalie on the backside here. We'll see what else they can do. Now E.T. Han looking to try to clear this one away. Soren trying to get this one out of here, but again, they can't quite seem to find it clearing it.
Oh, the barrage! Somehow they make the play on that one. It looked like it was set and done, and KJewls will find a second strike here against Mouse. I mean, Soren, there's only so much you can do. You're putting your abilities on cooldown in the fullest of moments. But when the core just keeps coming back and back and back and back again, eventually you're just going to be overwhelmed.
Still playing out of mind. And despite, you know, at some point you go, all right, there were like 3 or 4 strike wars that we just lost there. GG go next. It's their goal, right? We'll see if they can do that here, but we haven't seen the same amount of pressure come out of Lakeland as we've seen come back the other way. I mean, Corey, even when the core is on the red side of the pitch, he's still sitting right there on top of Soren, bullying him back and trying to make sure that he doesn't feel comfortable.
You can see that right now as well. Corey not really being involved in that massive midfield battle, but they do have the core available to them alongside Soren being low. And you can see Soren's kind of going down in the corner. They don't want this X Maximus to take him off the field, but it looks like it's inevitable, and they are gone. Sony salutes there from Corey, so maybe even a little bit of BM. Core flip, pass up KJewls is not good enough to fool the remaining defenders. And they will get this one away. Jalen Mans forced to use that strike shot to keep it away from the shield barrier, but it's just a detail. What a play. Again, Corey, the bull rush, not only getting the core into the back of the net, but the goalie too. I mean, that's just rude.
I mean, that's just rude is the X play style. I mean, that's all X does to you. He runs around, he punches you, he sets up camp in places you don't want him to be, and that's that. And now, odds are, he's going to take adrenaline rush here, unless it gets picked away by Lakeland. But no, Mouse goes for tempo swing instead to pick that one away. So now, this X, when he gets a knockout, is actually going to have the blood surging in his veins to be able to pick up that much more speed as well.
Yeah, there's just not a whole lot on offer here. That's a good counter draft, I would say, for Lakeland. So you're just seeing a massive advantage being pushed into what will inevitably become an even more massive advantage. And that is kind of the hard part about playing against an X, is that they start to snowball. There's not really a whole lot to be done about it. We see that adrenaline immediately be popped. He's so fast out there on the attacking side. And this is just life against an X. Corey to the top yet again. So close to the opposing net, but still someone managing to make a little bit of a cross up. And K-Bot, I gotta say, what is there to be done? X is the most momentum heavy striker in this game, it feels like. And now they are just on a massive roll. How do you stop this?
It's going to be hard, but it starts with a goal barrier. And A.T. Han has found that first one. We'll see if they can try to keep this one up here. But again, that's the other thing that's difficult here is that some of these passing plays that it seems like they're trying to set up for, with Mouse on one side, A.T. Han on the other, are very limited by Night Market, right? The fact that you have to work around those barriers in the middle makes it that much more difficult to find those connections to your teammates and find some of those cross-ups. And so, this play style that Corey is opting for, just sitting in front of the goal let and bullying Soren away, is working for them on the whole. We'll see if, and there it is, Corey now on the 10 KO streak. There's the adrenaline rush, strikes it back, and it's match point for CKJ.
This is looking like it's going to be a very clinical, what do we call it? 3-0, 3-0, just a perfect sweep. It's just a perfect sweep here on the horizon. There were a couple opportunities for Lakeland to score earlier on, but I don't believe they ever did make it happen. And Corey, like we said, he just keeps pushing forward. WM1 is the play style here for X. If you've got these awakenings up against the opposition right about now, it almost feels like it's just straight up inevitable. We're just waiting for that second shield there to go down. Core will be popped here by E.T. Han, not really going to achieve a whole lot. Corey continues to play Soren, waits on the barrage. KJewls trying to get this one in with the dunk and will get the job done. That is a clean 3-0 here on Night Market.
Wow, impressive performance there, and certainly a team here that's come together. Maybe not, a roster that you're used to seeing in terms of CKJ, but nonetheless, a roster that's able to perform. And other thing there as well, Jalen, we were talking about it a little bit in Striker Select, but Jalen Man's ability to move forward on that Kai, be a little bit more aggressive. And then you saw that on the last point where he actually just walks forward and psychs out ET Han there on the strike war, who's like, all right, I've got to strike twice. I've got to strike twice. And then he just walks up and strikes it away immediately. You see the KOs come on your screen. Corey finishes with 10, ET Han with 1. And got to say, salutes over to Soren, who's playing out of his mind, but not much you can do in those situations.
Yeah. I mean, I'm just looking at the stats page. I still got it up here on my screen. 23,000 damage, 10 KOs for Corey. It was, a clean, perfect sweep. Have 10 KOs in a perfect sweep is usually a pretty good sign that you were doing your job as a brawler. And as you mentioned, 6 assists for Jalen Mance as the goalie. Kai being able to walk up and play that midfield alongside, with the barrage, with the Giga Blast strike shot. We didn't even see Missile Propulsion come out, if I'm not mistaken. So it's just an excellent performance all around. Yeah, I don't really think there's a whole lot more to be said about that. Just very solid performance here. Jalen Mance, Corey, KJewls, just well done. Way to use the composition at hand here, and they definitely deserve to be moving on in this one. Lakeland, it's a sucky loss. I guess you just got to go next at this point, though.
You go next, and you still got a loser's bracket, right? If you're Lakeland. I was hyping this team up, and for good reason, by the way. You saw Soren play out of his mind, but couldn't win the mirror matchup in that case. Still fantastic play in this instance. It was CKJ playing better and winning more. That'll do it from me tonight, folks. Hope you all enjoyed the show and keep sticking around because there are plenty more matches to come. You see my Twitter down there or whatever. But also tune into the Nassel matches that are happening. Corey, one of the players that you'll see participating on the east side for Nassel. So be sure to tune into those matches. Those take place on Saturdays. And of course, I'm sure you'll be able to find information on those around on Twitter and whatnot. So that'll do it from me tonight, folks. But don't go anywhere. Round 3 of the winner's bracket is coming up as this action continues to heat up.